good night here in Brazil. But I know there are many people in all around the world. So yeah, please share in the chat, say hello in the chat, say from where you are, so we can also start connecting and talk with you. And yeah, my name is Hugo. I'll be hosting this session together with my friends, Tila and Danilo. And yeah, I think it's interesting to actually introduce ourselves because there are many people now. So I think every time is a good time to if you're new here, you're gonna know us a little bit. So my name is Hugo. I help professional web developers to design better architectures for their projects so they can start making important decisions in their project and also start leading their own team. And yeah, I have here, so I think I will start from Danilo. Can we start from you?
Oh, sure. Hey, everyone. Thank you for the invite for joining you. So today we have a great, nice topic to talk about it, and I'm really excited about it.
Cool. And also, well, I think I can. Yeah, let's pass the ball here. Who can start? Who can continue with the introduction?
Well, sure. Well, I'm Pedro Cavallero, so glad to be here, and I think we're gonna have like a very good talk today. We have may have my greatest fans here that knows lots about it, so let's rock.
Cool, cool. Chila, would you like to
Yeah.
introduce yourself? Yeah.
So my name is Chila, and I'm very glad to be here with you tonight discussing this very interesting topic. So I'm looking forward to it.
Great. And Bruno, I think, yeah, I think you don't need much introduction, but yeah, please, just to.
So I'm Bruno, and I help you guys grow your career, right? So that's a great topic to discuss, growing beyond senior. I have my two friends here, Davali and Juggy behind me. They're also here with us. So
Cool. Yes, and yeah, we have this big, great team here today to discuss about going beyond senior software engineer role, and I believe that I'm lucky to have such experienced guests with us today. And if you have a question, please share here on the chat so we can also address your question and yeah, and connect better with you. So how we can start here? I think we have some questions on our end too. But let's see. Since we are introducing ourselves to you, let's see if we can start with talk a little bit about what is the different paths that that exist here when we are talking about going beyond senior developer, right? Because at least for me, when I was starting, I see as, oh, once I got senior, I can I'm done with the work, and I don't have much places to do, or other than managing, to management path and becoming a manager of some project, and then yeah, keep the classical or traditional growing steps in a traditional company. And what do you think? How about you guys? You had something similar? What kinds of other things that you see today that is different from the past?
Yes, I have a similar feeling. So during all those years, so what I experienced, I also saw, okay, after senior, there is just one path, the classical path, the management path, and that was the path I didn't want to follow. So it was my decision not to go that path. And then, but at that time, we were not talking about those other paths or those other possibilities. So I have a feeling maybe this topic came up in the last couple of years. So what do you think?
Uh, I can feel the same, Sila, because uh, I and before we had this idea, classical idea of oh, if you want to grow in your career, you need to go to become a manager, right? Every time when I think about that, it was my time like 2000s, right? When I think I became senior like it was in the end of 2000s, and then we can think of I was thinking, okay, what do I need to do? Oh, you have to be a manager, and then I had to start being a manager just because of that. And I said I didn't like that at all. I liked to help people. I liked to help them to work and make them work better together. But all the other stuff, because manager has lots of responsibility, right? To completely different responsibility than we have as an engineer. And all the stuff I didn't like. And I said, okay, what could I do? And then at that time, I was reading about that why path, why career. At that time, we talk about like that, right? It's why. So you can when you get in a point that you can go from to management and or you can grow as a technical. But I think that was only the books because in the real world I haven't seen that. I haven't seen much that at the time.
Oh, I can share you something too. Actually, I remember that when I was 17, I had a dream that I wanted to become a senior developer in my career. And that was my focus during a lot of times, a lot of years. And I remember that to be a senior developer was like Pedro said, that it was the deadline of a software developer, you know. Then after that, only I only could see people going to become a manager, or not just a manager, maybe going to another area and doing other thing, not just programming or doing coding. And today, with the Y career, everything changed. We are in another. I don't know if it's a revolution or not, but it's a kind of a change on the career and on the companies.
Yeah, I think that what happened was that many of the IT companies, right? I mean, the big, the big technology companies, right? They have been finding ways for technical people to grow for many years, right? So, companies like Apple and Sun and Microsoft, IBM, right? They have been finding path for the technical people to grow because they were themselves very full with technical people. There were companies like Sun, for example, were actually founded by technical people, but just in the last, I don't know, I would say in the last 10 years that we start seeing that those more technical positions, that this technical path that you can grow beyond senior and have more responsibility and more influence in your company. Only in the last 10 years that we've seen those things spreading out for like more normal companies, right? Let's say, right? So I think it started inside the big tech companies, but now we see everywhere, right? So we see banks, we see companies that are not traditionally IT companies. We see them, a lot of them today, having this more technical path.
And yeah, and that's awesome. Those different views, perspectives around technical career path. And I want to grab the moment here to actually ask the audience, if you are, even if you are not actually a senior developer now, if you are just starting, or you have been working but you are junior or mid-level developer, probably you are thinking about your future, right? Where do you want to go? What kind of person that you want to become, what kind of professional you want to become in the future. So I want to ask you guys, what is your biggest concern, or what is the biggest challenge that you find when you're thinking beyond going to senior? Because until you get senior, I think it's quite clear path, right? You have to go deeper into some into the knowledge of the technologies that your tools that you'll be using, or going deep into the business also, so you can connect better the needs, the requirements for your business, for your projects, or for your manager, for someone else, but you are connecting better what you have to do. And yeah, so please share with us here on the chat what is your biggest challenges, your biggest concerns regarding to that. And one thing that come in my mind while hearing you guys is to understand if, okay, we have a lot of this discussion about becoming going to the technical path, and I don't know if it is something that we should. It is something for everyone. There is some kind of profile, some kind of things that may help people to. Yeah, I'm really into technical path, and I should be keeping focusing on that, or maybe I'm not. It is a bit different for what I thought about, and yeah, maybe it's not for me. I should be looking for something different. I think that's something I don't know, because it seems like very, how can I say, very common to say, oh, I'm technical. I don't want to have any management role, any management responsibility. I just want to keep technical growing. I just want to go deeper into some level of some tool. Is it that is their future for these persons, these people that want to go technical? What do you think?
So first of all, I think that going beyond senior is not, it's not necessary, right? Let's say that, right? Not everyone wants that. I always remember the case that this guy from Germany that I was talking to, and he's a senior developer since Java 1.2 came out, right? So we're talking about, he's a senior developer more than 20 years, right? And he likes what he does, and he plans to continue to do it. He's not interested in growing more responsibility or doing more influence. He wants to do this work and sit down and coding and kind of being assigned things to do, and so he can do that. And so I think that's very reasonable that you want to stay there. But many people have the interest of having more influence, participating more in the results of the company, being heard more, right? Or being able to define the way the company is going, and things like that. And for those people, many would be very, very happy being managers, right? I think that one of the things that scares people a lot is that is the idea that, yes, if I go, people say a lot, I want to be a manager, but I don't want to stop being technical, right? So there's this fear of losing the technical side. So many people would be very happy being managers, and if they do not have this fear of losing the technical side. I don't think it's necessary for you to lose the technical side. By the way, you can do a little bit of both for sure. And so, but I think there's this big fear, and but there are things like people like Pedro, for example, that they try the management path, and they say it's not for me, right? I don't want to be managing people. I don't want to be telling them what to do. I don't want to be organizing when they're out, or if they show up for work. I don't want to do that, right? That's good, and I totally understand that. And so I think that's this more technical path. It's a good way for those people that want to grow, want to grow in terms of influence, and want to continue to focus on their own work instead of focus on someone else's work, right? Because I think that the biggest difference is that, right? When you go into the technical path, you are focused on your own work. Your work might influence some other people, might help some other people, might solve problems for other people, but you are handling your work. A manager is handling someone else's work, right? So you're managing and organizing and controlling someone else's work, right? So I think that's the biggest difference. And yes, I don't think that's for everyone, because It requires more responsibility, requires more impact. It requires that you go that you go talk to people, that you listen to what's going on, that you understand the problems, that you understand how the companies wants to grow. It requires you to do more politics, right? So you have to understand where the company is going. So I mean, there's all kinds of things that you have to do to grow beyond senior, and many people, that's not for everyone, and I don't think it should be for everyone. I think that there's a good and nice path for people that want to be seniors and to continue to do their good work. And if that's what they want to do, that's great. Many companies we appreciate that.
Oh, that's great. Just listening to Bruno, one thing comes to my mind that think about the example that Pedro said that he just has already been as a manager and he didn't enjoy that. It when you become a manager, you are a senior, then it's likely you flip the coin and then you become a manager. But when you keep on the technical career, becoming a staff engineer, the coin isn't the same, but it didn't just flip the coin. It's something that it looks like to be hard to understand. Oh, I'm not a senior anymore, but something changes, and it's hard to identify these changes that you are going to have on your day-to-day work.
Yeah, I'd like to add something as well. So, like, as Bruno said, when we start trying, are you hearing me, right? Are you hearing me?
Yeah, yeah, but a
Yeah.
bit low yet. But yeah, we are hearing you.
And now,
Kind of
not
better.
really much. Oh, yeah, I actually don't know what happened. Well, I'll try to talk louder. It will be
Okay.
better. So, Bruno said something interesting. I said, when you grow, you need to go, even if you are in a technical path, you need to go do something different that you're doing as a senior, right? As a senior, is still there, and like, oh, I have a task assigned, I have a uh, I have a roadmap to work on. When you try to grow after that, you will start seeing some that is behind these scenes, right? Also, the roadmap, for example, roadmap doesn't come for free. Actually, it has a lot of work when you see a roadmap. There is a big work before that, and this is the moment when you start thinking, oh, why as a senior and you don't know about that, you say, oh, why the roadmap is changing every time. Oh, why I'm not having there is no stable work we can do here. Every time in the middle of the sprint we need to do changing this stuff. We need to stop what we're doing to do another thing. When you start seeing these things, it's this post senior work that is being executed. That, of course, the project manager work, the senior architects working, the CDOs, the CEOs discussing the path of the company. So all this work needs engineers to help them, right? The CEO can be a fantastic businessman, but most of the time he's not an engineer himself. So or the CDO knows lots of stuff, but he doesn't know too much about how to architect everything, right? So there is some moments that there is some like needs that a company have, that when you put an engineer there that is a senior, he starts doing a kind of work that is different than being assigned to a task, right? But you don't feel much. Oh, it's not much different than I'm still doing. but now I have more influence because I'm working on something that is before the tasks, right? And then we start. That's why I say, you start growing to the post senior, right? But it's like it's more like organic, You start going organically, going there, right? And then you start talking to more people, and then you start seeing the politics. That was Bruno. That was the point that Bruno said that I'd like to add, because when you go to this kind of work and say, oh Pedro, I like your work, can you help me? And the CTO asks something, or the project manager asks something to you, or you want to say no, and then you start seeing this behind the scenes, and you start going into the politics. And if you're good, if you have a good communication, if you can if you understand the business and you can talk with all the people, you start doing that, right? And you're not thinking, but you're becoming post senior. In the past, we call that sometimes architect, right? Leads or other stuff. But today we call it Stack Plus. But the needs were there from the beginning.
Yeah, because I think that's it's you always need people that are looking for the big picture, right? You always need people that are connecting multiple groups, for example, right? And those people, when you don't, because many people may think, but why do we need those things? Why do we need this hierarchy, right? And the reality is that you get someone that's that's kind of looking at the big picture, right? But if that person does not have some form of authority that he can say, look, guys, you cannot do the way you're trying to do, for example, right? Then is it's way harder to get people to agree, right? I think that good leaders will influence people, but at the same time, there is the part of the responsibility is that good leaders are also the person that make a decision, right? And so, otherwise, you you might stay in endless discussions, right? Or different groups want to do different things and they just go do different things. So you need someone that has some kind of authority to say, that's the way we're going. We discuss everything that we need to discuss, but someone has to make a decision. And it's very common that you see in teams, right? This paralysis, right? That no one makes a decision, and you just have this endless discussions, and nothing happens, no decisions taken. Then people do different things, and so I think that's, as you said, Pedro, I think that the need was always there, right? Now we have, but in the past, the best way to give authority to people was to call the person a manager, right? And then today, more and more, we have other positions inside companies that can make a difference, that can have the authority without directly managing people.
I, it came into my mind also. It is something that just happened in the IT world. It is something that is replicated to other business. We can see it happening. Any of you have any idea about it? Or or we are the only fields that actually are starting to have this kind of demand, because I see the complexity of having one person that manages everything in our field, and that's why probably split there are lots of different roles, so we can actually split their responsibilities into something more directed for each of them. I also would like to ask about the names that we have these days. Pedro mentioned about staff, but I think we have a lot of other names in the market today. But yeah, let's just keep with this first question I mentioned it here. Any of you have any idea about if it's replicated somewhere, some other business too? this need of technical path.
I like to put some experience. I had experience in telecom company, a big one, and I remember there are I knew many people there, many engineers, telecom engineers, that they had like I don't know 30 years of experience, and they were the ones who create like patents and articles and big stuff and it's 5G, and uh, and these guys they had like a level of in the company had the levels they call it, right, level one, two, three, and they had the highest level ever, but they were not managers. They managed nobody. They just had the level because of their influence, their money, right, the salaries and stuff. But they were engineers, researchers, right? So these guys, you can change the. You can imagine you say, "Oh no, you are researchers. You cannot grow in your career because you're a researcher. So you need to be a manager." No, this guy has a specialized work, right? So other domains like a telecom or and I know Embraer here, right? The they make the airplanes, Embraer airplanes here. They had the same. So when I said that I saw that white path in the books, it's not true because in the books they call it white path that these kind of companies were doing, right? Because they had to have engineers that knows how a airplane works, that know how 5G must work or electromagnetic fields can work, or the cars and whatever. Right? These kind of domains were doing that. Our field was not like our field is about software was not there yet because at that time people say, oh, software are just the the entry level. When you get higher positions, you'll be a manager. And then and we realized that the software development is not something entry level. It's something that has a whole life of study. It requires a whole life of working, but as the other domains have. So and then now we can see this coming to our field, but it was there in the other companies.
Oh, I have a question related to what Pedro was talking about. That what relation do you see between the impact that software has become in our world today to this new thing that's happening, new careers is being created and things like this?
Well, this is a broad question. I can say, for example, when I was working in the telecom, telecom was it's interesting to tell an anecdote here. When the people sell, when the sellers there sell the equipments, all the equipment, 4G, 3G, all these equipments to the telecom companies, they say, okay, if you buy my hardware here, I give you the software to work on that just for free. They were selling just the hardware. The software came was just like oh, I can give you for free the software here. Software is something, oh, we don't think about it, right? And I say, oh my god, now and then the things evolved and they
Software
started
was a
having.
souvenir for the business.
Yeah, so now software is now the all the stuff they did in hardware is being doing by software. They say software defined network, software defined whatever, right? And then we have everything they did in the hardware they have inside the software. And how you do that right now? The hardware became more and more commodity, right? It happened in all fields. Bruno can say about sun, for example, right? It's almost the same, right? Then we can feel inside the company how they treat the developers, right? The development path is start to become something that is that had a higher priority, and we start seeing people getting to the higher positions coming from a development career. So this is a changing we are talking about, right? The companies that were doing that. Oh, I'm talking about a 100 years company, right? So that the changes we can see today, like in the last 15 years or 10 years.
Oh, yes, right. Because IT itself, software development, was probably not as was not seen as that important. Because I remember when I started to work, IT department was under finance department, so it was not a separate independent department, but okay, this is something, okay, let's put it under finance, that's okay. But yes,
Uh,
things have changed.
yes, and just want to say quick hello here to Vincent that I see he sent us a message. Hello, Vincent. We are talking about if you have any question or you have what you have a challenge about beyond going beyond senior software engineering. Yeah, place your question here. We'll be happy to answer you and help you with this topic. And yeah, I would like to add here what about what Pedro said and about what Chila said actually, that things changed. A very strong affirmation that I see in the past years is that every business became a digital business, a technology business, right? So I think that's what make all the thing changing or bring all the changes from for the business for the market, because they are seeing now, like Chila said, not as a department inside the business, but actually it's the core business of any business now. And they need, if they are not in the technology, they are out of the market. So every business now have to need to have some technological pilot there. And maybe it is my perspective here is that uh, because of that we start to have these roles becoming in a director level, because we need some director there to give directions regarding to the technology path of that business. We don't have we can't actually work without this pillar anymore. I don't know if you guys, what do you guys think something about that?
One at a time.
I Brent, do you want to add something? You're doing some you're saying that you have some opinion and you are waiting for the right moment to bring your wisdom here with us.
No,
Share with your wisdom with us.
no, that's all
Or
good.
you're
I
having
just
an issue.
no, that's all good. I just think that I think that we are, as you're talking about, right, that we have more and more companies are digital companies, right? So then the value of the technical person kind of has increased, right? Has increased in terms of what the impact that he has. And I think that, you know, the big difference that we have in terms of software compared to the rest to what we had before is that before the technical person was more responsible for, for example, I don't know, like an engineer kind of inventing a car, for example, right? Um, but with software, what we have is that we have this huge potential of scale, right? So like one developer can have such a big impact, right? I mean, in the past, you would have that too. If you could invent the car, that would be a big impact, right? But but with software, I think that this impact is easier and faster, right? And so because of that, and especially because what you said, that the companies, more and more companies, there's the article like software is eating the world, right? The whole discussion that Forbes has been saying for 15 years now that every company is a software company. And so with that, then the value of the software developer, right, increase a lot. And when your value increases, there are two paths for you to do, right? So you want more salaries, right? So if you continue as senior developer and you grow, you want to be more, to be more valued, right? So you want to receive a larger salary, for example. But and that's good. Many people can just stay there, just kind of continue to grow and get higher salaries, but basically do the same thing. But at the same time, uh, you know, there is a need, there's a desire for many people to go do different things, right? And go have a larger impact that we talked about before, right? And I think that it also has a little bit to do with age, right? Because the older you get, the more interest you have on a real interesting problem, right? Then just kind of being there. Oh yes, like solving this this code problem all the time, right? So and because of all of that, if you put those two things, that those people become very valuable, right? And at the same time, they're getting older, right? More experienced, they want different things. Then either the company provides a path for them to continue to grow inside the company, or that person going to look for a different place, right? And that has been happening a lot, right? Lots of people are leaving the companies, they go look for different places. I had a We had a workshop, the Grow Beyond Senior workshop, this past Saturday, and one of the questions that we had was someone saying that they have so much difficulty in hiring senior developers those days, right? Because they got so expensive and it's hard to hire, that they are resorting to get less skilled people and training them, right? And with the knowledge that once they train them, those people are going to leave to more interesting, more challenging jobs, right? And so, so because of that, companies are trying to figure out, how do I keep those persons around, right? They are very important for the business, and how do I keep them here so they don't decide to leave, right? And that's why one of the things I think, right? So we actually have talking about the different path for growing beyond senior, right? That's why I think that no matter where you are, actually, you might not even be a senior yet, right? But no matter where you are, I think you should be looking into, how can you be an independent person, right? How can you have your own business? How you can have your own company? How you can provide services for other companies? The sooner you start cracking that code, the sooner you start to understand how to do that, the more flexibility you're going to have as a developer, as a technical person, the more flexibility you're going to have to benefit from this market, right? Because many companies don't have the ability to hire top level developers full time anymore, right? And so I think there's a very strong need of someone that wants to go beyond senior to say, okay, I can help multiple companies, right? I can oversee the projects. I can understand. I can define the technology. I can point people to the right direction, right, and work with multiple companies at the same time. And so because you're not the person, right? When you grow beyond senior, you're not the person that is like over there continuously writing code, right? So if you're not that person, and then you can work with people that are more junior than you are, and you can guide them, right? There's a huge opportunity, right? We actually have people in our mentoring group, for example, that they have become CTOs from multiple companies, right? So they get to this level of being the person that defines technology, that sets the path, and they do this, for 3, 4, 5 companies, right? And that's a huge potential in terms of making money. It's a very, very interesting thing because you're bringing more responsibility for you. You can actually find common ground between those companies, right, and even get them working together if you choose the right companies to work with. So there's a lot. I think there's a lot of opportunities for technical people to grow that way.
So I think that thinking of being multiple company CTO, this yeah, this guy can't fear taking responsibility, right?
Right. Look, and you might be thinking like, oh no, how can I be the CTO of, I don't know, how can I be the CTO of Oracle and IBM at the same time? That's not what we're talking about, right? Is you being the CTO of the bakery in the corner, right? Because they have
Yeah.
some software, they're doing some software, and they need someone to think about those things, right? They need someone to understand trade-offs of going to the cloud or not going to the cloud, right? And so and you can have multiple companies. I mean, it doesn't need to be the bakery. No, I always talk about the bakery in the corner, right? Because that's how I started, right? I started doing software for bakeries, right? So for me, they're always on my mind. But you can have startups, right? That can't really afford to have like a full-time CTO, for example. Startups are great for that because they might have some investors that can put the money, but they might not. They need the good names to help them define things, but they don't actually have the funding to have people full time, for example, right? Not only the funding, right? Because that's an interesting thing. It's not only about the funding; it's about the interest. Why would any of you guys here, for example, be interested in working in a very small startup that has a small chance to succeed, right? So, but if you can work a few hours a week to help them and actually get them to succeed, right? That is a very interesting. Actually, I was talking with the guy from Microsoft, right? The guy that he's not at Microsoft anymore, but he was like one of the first employees of Microsoft, and he's the guy that defined it, that created the .ez format, right? So I forgot his name right now. It's MH. I forgot his name. Actually, the bytes beginning the EZ format is MH because of this guy. But anyway, he is a older guy, right? He could even be retired if he wanted to, but that's what he does, right? So he consults with companies, startup companies or other companies, and he works. And he was saying that I could just do a lot of things for them, right? But they don't, they would not even be able to benefit if I just did a lot of things. So I work like 4 hours a week and get things done for them, and that's enough for them to advance to the next level. It's enough for them to get more funding, right? And so you guys could do that, right? You could totally get be the technical person that understands all these things, and you could even be working for a big company, right? Like you guys are working right now, people that are watching us here, you're working for a big company and you're CTO of a small company, right? So I think there's a lot of opportunity there. There's a lot of possibilities, the things that can be done. And I think that it's incumbent to us to really think about those things, right? And experiment and try, because those companies don't understand. They don't understand how to hire people, right? They don't understand that those things are possible. Many developers don't understand those things are possible. I was talking to a developer last week, and he's like, oh, isn't the only way for me to work is sell my hours, right? No, it's not, right? But but you have to be creative sometimes. You have to know people that have done things different to experiment, right? So I think that because we're very valuable, and because every company needs software developers, I think there is a space for people that want to do that to be more creative on how they work with companies.
Yeah, that's a
Yes,
good
sure.
advice. I was started thinking here. Well, I should be thinking about some
Yeah,
new ways
but
to
it
to work here.
requires for you to be an entrepreneur, right? You
Yeah,
can't just go and do an interview and then in the middle of the interview say, you know what, I don't want your job, right? I just want to work for 4 hours for you. That doesn't work like this, right? It's the other way around, right? You have to come to the company, you have to offer a service, right? And there are people that are doing this.
cool. Yeah, really cool. I think it at least it opened my mind here. I'm one of those developers that haven't thought that it was possible. I didn't even thought about that.
Yes,
I follow a guy in Twitter that is they call a fractional CTO. Exactly that. Is that
Fractional,
a fractional CDO?
fractional
So fractional
CTO. Yeah.
CTO is this guy that is CDO for many companies at some time.
Hmm.
Right? But it's not a, they say it's not a full CDO. It's like fractional. So
Okay.
I'm CDO for your company for 4 hours a week, right? Or 8 hours a week or something like that. And he says exactly like that. He started doing stuff and he started being a CDO, and then he verified he was on a level that okay, my hour is very expensive, and to me there is no much it is much more valuable that I can work in different problems at the same time, and I help many people at the same time. Not exactly same time. Of course, we were not talking about overemployment here. Okay, overemployment another topic. Not talking about that. I'm talking about fractioning your time to different companies. This is entrepreneurship. We cannot be hired like that. We offer service. We need to have to be a company, right? And sometimes we need to hire people to help us on that, So this is, and then we are starting doing another level of jobs.
oh, that's great. Actually, I have one question to Bruno and even Pedro that could answer that. Do you have any advice to give to for the first step to try to reach this career?
Is what? Sorry.
Do you have any advice to give the first step to for this career?
Yeah, so I mean, the you need different skills, right? I think one thing that I think that developers, they got to senior level, right? And they want to be more technical. I love that. You can be as technical as you want. There's no limit on how much technical you can be, right? So you can be as technical as you want. But the thing that I see is that um, everyone is going to be technical, right? All of us are going to be technical. So the thing that's going to get you those positions are not your technical abilities, right? Because those are what everyone have. So you have to have the rest, right? And for me, one of the biggest uh, you know kind of mindsets that I saw one time was when the uh, oh man, how do you say, when the singer, right, the from Iron Maiden, right, he came to Brazil, right, and he gave an awesome talk at Campus Party, right, and one of the things that he said that I think is very very true is that he said that the difference between a rock star musician and a in a normal musician, it's not the music, right? Because for you to be a musician, you have to have the music, right? The difference that the rock star does the rest, the other things that the normal musician doesn't do, right? The rock star does the show. He's an entrepreneur, right? He enchant his audience, right? It's not the music, right? And in Brazil we have like a lot of this, right? You see singers and, oh, that's such a terrible singer. How he can be such a rock star? Yes, because that's not the music, right? And you can see I'm always impressed, right, on that program, for example, The Voice, right? Always impressed how you have those amazing people coming in and having awesome voices and singing like this wonderful. And then you get the judges, and the moment the judges step on the stage, you're like, oh man, those guys are so much better, right? Because they have stage presence, right? They're there. There's not only the voice, right? They have a lot more, right? And so, and I think that as developers, that's what we have to think about, right? It's not only the technology. We got to do it's the rest, right? It's the thing that no one else does that we have to do. Do you want to be a rock star developer? You got to do the rest, right? You got to be the person that walks into the room in the middle of the meeting and everyone's like, whoa, man, you know, Chile is amazing, right? Look what she said, right? No, that's we have to have that presence, right? We have to have this thing, right? So it's not only just knowing the technology, right? And that's the same thing, right? So, you go and you read something that Hugo wrote and said, yes, man, that's why Hugo is the architect here in this thing, right? There is a discussion going on, and Danilo says, so guys, have you thought about this? And everyone's like, yes, that's why Danilo is the guy, right? Because he helps us understand what that's you see what I'm talking about, right? That's we have to have this extra, right? And this leadership and this ability to listen to people, this ability to understand what the business needs, right? And I think that uh, um, if you're only focused on the technology, that's okay, right? You're going to be senior forever, and that's awesome, right? You can be senior, you can get more salary, you can negotiate, you can do all that. That's great, right? But if you want to go one step beyond, you have to do more, and actually not more in terms of time, but more in terms of different skills.
Yeah, even you said, oh, you can get more salary, and to do that you have to negotiate, and
Yeah,
negotiate is something more, right?
yeah. But
So
look, but I don't think a negotiation is you being more than senior, right? I think negotiation you should start learning negotiation as a junior, right? Because if you negotiate well, you're gonna make more money, man. So that's like a basic thing for me, right? So
yeah, but even though many many of us doesn't have that.
I understand many of us don't have, but that's kind of a must.
um, I see a question here, Hugo, from Vincent.
Yeah, we have Vincent question here. Uh, while we are talking about CTO being multiple CTO, he asked here, CTO is the ultimate role that could reach as a developer in a career. What do you
Interesting question.
think?
I always think about CTOs being in a managerial path. Of course, if you it's something that you must be a high skill technical people, but you must have a high skill management skills as well. So uh, I don't see, for example, staff plus getting to CDO. No, I see CDO as in a middle of maybe you can go through two different paths, say management and technical, and then you get to CTO because you are technical enough to be a CTO, right? But this is I know many. I know some people like my friend that I invited that last time. He's a very technical person, right? And but he knows how to handle teams. He knows how to grow teams, hire people. You know, but he is strongly technical. And then what he does, he works on startups as CDO. So he's the first engineer of the startup, you know. and then he starts growing this startup. Oh, hiring people, leading people, leading the development, and then when it grows, he can go to another company because he can do that again. The CTO role, when you get in a company gets bigger, it's getting manager only, right? And then when
Mm.
in smaller companies, no, it's that's something that I realized when I talking to him and talk to other CTOs as well. So that's that thing. So he's a good on this moment of the company. So and I see that lots of people, lots of good engineer that knows how to grow teams and knows how to grow companies and knows how to deliver fast. He start doing this kind of specific work. Interesting to see.
Mm.
So, and he asked, is it the direction we should envision? Well, it's something you need to answer for yourself, right? Do you think that this is something you should envision?
Yeah, so
Well,
I think the
go ahead.
CTO is a very specific position, right? That is, it's it's right there into politics and management and technology, right? It's actually a good position to be, Vincent, is for it to be the right arm of the CTO, right? So, so for example, the CTO can be the political guy, and you could be the cloud specialist, right? Or you can be the security specialist, or you can be the performance specialist. So I mean, you are the right arm. You actually help the CTO make the technical decisions. Very important for the company, right? So I don't think the CTO is is the ultimate role. No, I don't think that, right? I think that you can now. For me, the ultimate role is to be an entrepreneur, right? That's what I think. And a CTO is a way to be an entrepreneur, right? So if you're involved with a startup, for example, if you're involved with a company, it's a way for you to be an entrepreneur. But I think that's the ultimate position is that you have enough independence, you have enough autonomy, right? That you can work on the things that you want to work on, and that makes a big difference.
Let me add just something like that about this entrepreneurship about CTOs. I was talking to this guy and say, "Oh, I'm doing that, and what I'm doing is that okay, I can do that in the beginning. I can grow the company. I got some shares, right? And then he can do it and again, like doing, growing his, how can I say, growing his wallet of companies, you know, with shares and doing this big stuff. The guy, a person who can do this thing, like getting a company in the beginning and helping to grow exponentially, man, that guy is very highly valuable, right? And this is something you can not only ask for money like by hour, but ask for money by something in the future. And this is entrepreneurship, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. So thanks, Vincent. Yeah, Vincent said, yeah.
Yeah, Vincent send thanks here, and yeah, good. So actually, we are starting to reach our limit time here too. I had a lot of questions, good questions here actually, but I think we will need to let it for the next session then. And yeah, so what do you think about jump into our traditional content sharing for today? We have, I think, since today last session we have 8 people here, so it was a bit challenging to everyone share things. But now today that we have 5 people, I think we can make it on time. So and don't let anyone waiting. So I'll pick start here, and I will let you guys keep the the order as you wish. I would like to share. I always, when we talk about beyond senior engineer roles, I always like to share the engineering ladder side. I think it's a great source that we do actually. I will try to share my screen too. So we do actually they created a chart that can address some paths and some ways to have clear vision about what is growing in many different in different how can I say different pillars of the inside a company. And yeah, I think it's a great way to view our career with this engineering ladders diagram. Let me see if I can share the screen here quickly, and then I will uh, let everyone share their content too. So one thing very interesting here is this diagram about growing in technology, in system, in people, in process, and influence. And each level starts from the middle here, and each level has uh, some uh, some some level to grow or something to grow inside. So if we pick about technology, we start as an adopters of technologies, then we specialize on it, then we evangelize, then we master it, and the last level we start creating new technologies, and so on for many other for the other pillars too. We have those ladders, and yeah, it's a great source to actually have a good discussion inside your company. Of course, it's not all in one. You have to figure out what would work best in your reality. But it's a good start here to as a reference to start a great discussion about career growing inside your company. So that's my take. Who would be the next?
Oh, I can share mine. Actually, I'm not going to share a link, but I want to share a podcast. Actually, it's a podcast from the staff engineer. Actually, Pedro sent the link from the book, and I sent the link from the podcast. Actually, they are related. This podcast, the authors of the staff engineer book, they made a lot of interviews with a lot of really good developers. Actually, not just developers. I think some of them are principals, fellows, and distinguished in Netflix and a lot of big companies. And I strongly recommend you to listen to it. They give a lot of tips that what you can do to follow this path and things like this. And they share their experience on their lives. So this is a great podcast.
Yeah, I think I can continue. So I was about to share the site of steph.com that has all these things, the podcast, and there's some written stuff like stories and guides. There we can find the, the, the types of staff engineers, and we have a lot some story of these stories in a written form. So yeah, I find it a good place to get more info about it.
Cool. So and yeah, I think I will click on some of them to actually show the link here. But yeah, while that, Kila Bruno, would you like to pick the cue here?
Yeah, go ahead, Chila.
Oh, my suggestion is not that related to stuff beyond stuff engineer career, but if you would like to change your career into direction of data visualization, maybe you can find a few tips in there what you need to be aware of So this is a little checklist where you can see all the steps that could be interested or you have to think about if you are doing visualizations. And yes, that's my recommendation for today.
Yeah, that's great.
A little bit different, yes.
Yes, it's a great book from Tila, and by the way, it's a great way for you to grow beyond senior. Is exactly having your own content, having your own books. So congratulations, Tila. And I'm gonna go on Tila's lead right there because what I want to do is I want to talk about maybe Hugo can help me out there by sharing his screen, right? So because I'm gonna talk about the whole a set of books, right? So there's a book from Hugo, there's a book from me, there's a book from there's a book about artificial intelligence, right? So you guys want to grow beyond senior. It's good that you have a general overview of lots of different things, right? So that's a series called the Low Hanging Books, and so lowhangingbook.com. And when you go there, you're gonna have access to several books from different people, giving you some actionable things that you can do to do a next step in your career, right? So those are the books right there. So we have to put Tila's book here too, right, Tila? It's missing, right? But so that is a good thing to do. You have all kinds of books that we're gonna give you the skills that you need to grow beyond senior. So take a look there. Choose which books you want. They're all free for you. Thanks, Hugo.
You are muted, you.
You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I was talking a lot here and I'm muted. Well, if you want to grab an easier way to get the books, here is the QR code. And yeah, I visited all the other links. Sorry, I was having issue here to share the screen and show the links. Here's the book from Chila, 10 Steps to Amazing Data Visualization. That's awesome books that will give you a lot of insights and tips to actually create data visualizations. And about the Staff Plus podcast and book, you can see here the podcast from that Danilo shared to us, and also the book shared from Pedro. That's all about the staff engineering if you want to go deeper into this topic, right? So yeah, that's all amazing content we got here, and amazing session too. I wish to thanks a lot for everyone that is here. I see a quick thanks from Dennis too. Hey Dennis, good to see you here. And yeah, so hope to see you guys on the next session, and really appreciate all the conversation today. There are some wow moments with some insights. Always surprised with these different things that you always bring to us. So thanks a lot, Pedro. Thanks a lot, Sheila. Thanks a lot, Danilo and Bruno. And thanks a lot, everyone that is hearing us. And see you guys on the next session.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, Vince.
Bye.